off with the most recent issues that have happened. Religious tolerance in senior high schools, which appear to, for some people, reflect a bigger national issue. What has the Peace Council made of what we are seeing with, with Christian sects, the Muslim sect, and their coexistence in our senior high schools?
Thank you very much for the question. It's not just a question of Christian groups and Muslim groups, but it's a whole question of religious tolerance. So the National Peace Council, over the years, at least the last 2 mandates, so the last about 6 years, has been working on religious tolerance in schools. Different stakeholder meetings were held, and finally, last year, we were able to put together, with the help of the various education unit heads, the COMIO, put together a memorandum of understanding, which various religious leaders of the various churches and Islamic groups, together with the military and the police, because they have education units, signed. This year in April, on the 11th of April, the Director General of Ghana Education Service signed it also. So a few days after that, on the 14th, we launched it to show that there is a common framework of understanding of what religious tolerance should be in the various schools.
Right. So I want us to stick with this MOU, right? Because I see that it was signed by 13 stakeholders, including the Ahmadiyya Mission. Also, I note that there is the Office of the National Chief Imam here as well. This basically says that the mission that builds the school has the right to practice the religion that they believe in. However, they should also make room for other religions of the students in the school. Yes. Do you feel that we've been able to do this as a country?
It is a project, because over the years, this has been there, this practice of tolerating other religious groups in faith-based schools. Because it is clear that the various faith-based groups founded these schools for a purpose, an educational purpose, which is within the context of their own religious beliefs. But over the years, each group has tried to live out this one. But now we have formalized it that all groups do accept. So it means for me that if I am a Catholic and I go to a Methodist school, I know that when I go there, the Methodists have their own ethos, they have their own faith expression. I am agreeing that I would follow what is there, even though I know that they will also give me room to practice my Catholic faith.
Isn't that wrong?
No, it's not wrong. It is, within the Christian circles, it is ecumenism. But within the context of the other religions, it becomes interreligious dialogue. Respecting and accepting or tolerating the other religions, giving them room within the scope that is there. Because we know the basic religious practice will be that of the founder or the faith-based groups that have founded the institute. But you make room for the other also to practice his or her religion to the extent that it is possible and doesn't infringe on the general framework of the school.
I see. But the reason I'm asking if that is not wrong is we'll basically be telling Christians to go to mosque on Fridays and then tell Muslims to go to church on Sundays. Yes. That is forcing somebody to practice a religion they don't believe in.
Yeah, I would say you are not forcing the person, because in choosing to go to that particular school, you know the tenets of the school. So you have made an option. You have made an option to go to a Muslim school as a Christian. And so you will be following the Muslim practice within the school frame, because if you don't do that, then there will be some people will be left out, and that can be cause for indiscipline. So in making your choice to go to a particular school, you also accept at that time to follow the regulations of that school. And this is what has been agreed upon and understanding in this Memorandum of Understanding by all the faith-based groups.
Why should the faith-based groups still have a lot of power over the schools when they are publicly funded?
Public funding is not ownership.
Okay.
And public funding doesn't dictate what is the tenet of the school or the ethos.
Okay.
The public funding for me is because the state has a social responsibility towards all citizens' education. But the faith-based groups come in, as they have done even before the state as a Ghana came into existence, as they have done, to educate their members in the faith through education. Mm-hmm. So the state only comes in to help or assist, but the state doesn't own the schools. And so every faith-based group that has a school has it as a means of evangelization for his members. But any other person who comes in is welcome.
So the faith-based schools are a means of evangelization for the faith communities?
For the faith communities, because it is also educating their own members about building them up, let me say, with their morals and their whole concept to life.
But how much do these faith-based organizations, faith-based communities spend on the schools? They are publicly funded with the taxpayers' money. The tax is not colored Islam, traditional religion, or Christian.
Yes, the tax is not colored, but the beneficiaries are colored.
Isn't that the problem?
No, it is not the problem because
in modern day Ghana,
no, because Ghana being as it is, mm-hmm. accepts the different faith-based groups or different religions, mm-hmm. and these citizens are beneficiaries of the taxpayers' money.
I'm trying to understand that, because for a lot of people, if it is a publicly funded institution, despite bearing the Christian name, then it should not evangelize necessarily, forcing Muslims to go to church on Sundays, and then in the Muslim case, forcing Christians to go to the mosque on Fridays.
I don't think it's a majority opinion.
It's not?
I don't think so. I don't think it's a majority opinion.
But what would the religious organizations lose if they allow people to practice their religions the way they deem fit until they come to...
And they're allowed to practice it, but within the framework of the school's regulations,
okay,
which is based on the particular faith group that has founded that school. And as I said earlier, the schools were founded for a purpose.
Right.
If government supports, it doesn't mean they lose their right of ownership or they lose the principles for which they founded the schools. Mm. And I believe if a parent sends a child to a particular school, it is because of what that school stands for. If it stands for certain values, mm-hmm. it is because those values have been inculcated in the students by that particular faith group. And so others want to go to that school. So the moment you want your child to come out with the same values as you see in those who have been there before, it means your child also needs, you as a parent must make the right choice.
Most Reverend, you know that in today's placement, secondary school placement, sometimes students are placed in these places.
But they are placed because they have chosen it. Mm-hmm. And they and their parents are given the form and they choose where they want to go.
So I get the sense that the Peace Council does not see any problem with the situation at hand.
Not the Peace Council alone, but having had meetings or held stakeholder meetings, the various faith groups that have schools, so Christians, Muslims, they have seen that this is the way to go.
I see.
Because they all signed the Memorandum of Understanding.
Okay.
After a long period of studying the document and all that, they all signed it.
We have also come to understand that in this Memorandum of Understanding, there is religious place of worship, which says that in the case of religious place of worship, mission-based schools could make available space of worship in toleration of diverse religious groups. Our understanding is that this has not been made for the students.
It is there in some schools. Maybe you haven't seen it in all schools. Okay. Schools provide places of worship for people of other faiths. And they do practice.
So in a school where this is not happening, and again, just for the purpose of our audience,
yes.
This document was signed April 15th, 2025,
yes.
which is progress on all the years that these schools have existed. So in a school where this is not happening, they are going against the Memorandum of Understanding.
So what we have done so far is we have to educate or introduce this Memorandum of Understanding to all the management of all the schools, which are mission schools and also private schools, we said. So now that education is going on. So that those who are not doing it know that this is what the owners of the schools have agreed upon with the help of the National Peace Council.
I see. So this matter that is in court now, is the Peace Council going to do anything about it, perhaps facilitate it out of court?
Well, I cannot speak on that alone because the Peace Council has not met to take a decision. But as far as I see, it has become a legal issue. So it is with the Supreme Court. It will be up to the judges now to come up with a judgment. But there is also another way out. The one who took the case there can decide probably to withdraw it.
Do you find that it will be more prudent in the, the ecosystem we find ourselves now to withdraw it and have it arbitrated?
Yes, in the ecosystem that we have, and seeing what has been done in collaboration with the National Peace Council by the various stakeholders, Christians and Muslims, we need to use dialogue instead of law or judgment to resolve the problem. And I don't see that the problem still exists because the problem has already been solved. So I don't see the reason why this case should be still in court.
Well, I think it's the other part which you tell me is not majority opinion. The fact that, this MOU still says that come to the mosque even if you're not a Christian, or go to church even if you're not.
Because that is the framework of the school you have chosen. And I think
and that's a problem that they're hoping the court case will deal with.
No, but I do not know. I don't want to read the mind of the judges. But if somebody has his house and you decide to come and live in that person's house, are you going to tell the person to leave aside his or her rules of the house in order to let you do what you want to do, or the person will accommodate you?
Do the churches still contribute financially to the schools?
Yes, we do.
Is that the case?
Yes.
Even after all the money government pumps into these schools?
Well, check with the heads of institutions.
I see.
Government does not give everything. Government does not give everything.
I mean, do you have any examples to share? Which church or mission continues to pump money into secondary schools in this country?
The Catholic Church does in some of the schools where there is need and we get the resources. We help.
Like what? Like in what?
With infrastructure, for example.
Infrastructure. Okay.
Yes. When we can, we also help. And we also lobby with other bodies to provide what is needed.
I mean, to the best of your knowledge, which school recently has the Catholic Church built infrastructure for or spent money on?
I do not have it offhand, but I know we do.
I see.
I don't have it offhand.
Away from, I mean, zooming out on this issue and away from just the secondary school level of this, there are those who think that this reflects a form of religious intolerance in this country. Do you feel the same?
I wouldn't say so, because we have gone a long way with religious tolerance in Ghana.
Are we not pretending to be religiously tolerant of each other?
I don't think so. If somebody is not sincere with it, that one I cannot say. But I can say sincerely that we are religiously tolerant.
But have you heard some of the comments people have passed against Muslims since this issue popped up?
Probably because it's the Muslim who took the case to court.
But it doesn't warrant. Probably. It doesn't warrant castigation of a whole Islamic sect.
I will not speak for those people because I will not do that. Because within the Catholic faith, we practice interreligious dialogue, respecting the religion of the other person. But that doesn't mean giving up my own. So I wouldn't say what you said. Some people have said.
And which is why some people say that, look, these dialogues, these show of unity is all on the surface. It's pretense.
It is
but
not pretense.
Deep down, there is religious intolerance in this country. It's just that people can't act.
No, it is not pretense. If people are convinced of what they are saying, they are convinced that we need to be religiously tolerant in order to live together, it cannot be a pretense. And I am convinced of that, that is what we all have to aim at.
Is there anything that can be done now to ensure that this issue does not go beyond what it is?
It will be, as far as I see it, to continue the dialogue, interreligious dialogue, so that we understand one another and we know that we are all brothers. We do not go against one another, but respecting one another's religion also means that everybody does the same thing. I respect yours, you respect mine.
Are there any efforts that Peace Council embarks on to ensure religious unity in the country? Do you have things you already do?
We have been involved mainly in this need for tolerance in schools. Because in Ghana, as far as I can see, on the desk of the complaint section of the National Peace Council, we do not have direct cases of religious intolerance.
I see. We'll move away from this issue, as you say that it's being worked on behind the scenes as you await the judgment from the court as well. But assuming that this judgment from the court does not go in the favor of any religious sect, because again, people confuse that, or people think that this will only affect Christians, but it will also affect Islamic schools, which means that you cannot force a Christian child to go to the mosque on Friday. Yes. Now, in the event that the court agrees with that position, that no child to be forced to practice the ethos of whichever religious organization owns the secondary school they go to, what would you do?
I wouldn't be able to speak for the owners of the school, because that would be up to them to take a decision based on the law.
But obviously they won't be happy. The Peace Council will have to step in.
No, if they make a complaint to the Peace Council to step in, then we'll hear what is the case they want the Peace Council to handle.
But as a religious leader, what would you think about that?
As a religious leader and as a Catholic, then we have to decide or ask ourselves if we want to remain within the assisted school system or not.
Some have said that then government should give back their schools to them fully. Is that the way to go?
We, as Catholic bishops, we are asking for giving back the management of the schools to the Catholics, because the children who are there, as I said earlier, are children of the taxpayers, and government has a social responsibility towards all the citizens. So we cannot say we oblige some people to be in schools that the government is not assisting. And government has seen a reason in assisting these schools to provide services that is for all. And we don't do it only in the area of education. We do it also, for example, in the area of healthcare, where we provide healthcare and the government supports what we are doing by paying the critical staff. You see. So it is collaborating with government to provide the social services that are needed for the development of all citizens.
Is that what you think is right, returning management of the schools to the missions?
Management of the schools to the missions will be a plus, because then the owners of the schools will also be involved more than it is now in what is happening in the schools, because with management. For example, if a particular faith-based group has its own ethics and direction for what character training and all that, it is good that this faith-based group is also involved in selecting who teaches or works in that school. Because if you do not select people who would buy into your frame of mind or into the character building you want to, or the ethics you have, you can have some who do not collaborate.
Most Reverend, how did the missions cede the schools to government, management of the schools to government?
It was a slow process because it was supposed to be a partnership.
Okay.
But gradually over the years, I don't know how it happened. History would be able to explain that. Over the years, the Ghana Education Service took over many of the functions to the point that now the education units of the various faith groups are practically powerless.
They are redundant.
Yes, they have become redundant because appointment of teachers, which was formerly being done, or employment of teachers, which was formerly being done by the units, have been taken over by the education service. Payment is done by government, we know, but appointment of heads and teachers to the schools are now being done just by the Ghana Education Service without reference to the owners of the schools.
In your opinion, has that affected evangelism, or it has affected quality of education?
It has affected quality of education more than evangelization, because the quality of education that is given is also based on the ethos of the school or of the faith-based group that has found it. And that is what you use to mold the person who is in that school and comes out to be a particular product. That's why somebody by preference will go to, let me say, a Catholic school. Somebody by preference will go to a Muslim school because of the outcome. But when we do not have a hand in the management, we are not able to mold the people the way that will give the results we are looking for.